Okay. Um, like I said, I always try to make videos as much as I can. I think that there'll be a time when I will not be able to make videos. And so, as a target individual, which is what I am, somebody who is a TI, which is target individual, is somebody who at this point is a subject in a human experimentation where governmental entities are using human beings to develop technology that quite advanced. There's a lot of us out there. Matter of fact, I think yesterday was about my fourth year as a target individual with V2K, which you know means a lot of manipulation in my brain has been happening, a lot of rewiring. I'm no longer myself in the sense of the way I think, the way I process, the way my memories are experienced, the way the way I look physically. I'm changing that to there too. Even though the most disturbing part is the psychological manipulations. As I said before, they do these pedophilia type of things, which is disgusting. And then they try to make you accept these things. With me, they've been manipulating my memories to experience things. So when they do these things to me, they make me imagine or make me think that when I was a child, I was experiencing the same thing. Now, even that sounds quite illogical, but this is what they do. These people create an ecosystem where this kind of nonsensicalness is tried to be pushed in as something that's sensical, right? They surround you with people around you that can make you believe that that makes sense. Forget the fact that this technology, first of all, manipulates your memories, but even that alone, a grown man or woman, self-respecting individuals could, at least what you would think, a self-respecting individual would try to make you think that this way of thinking should make sense. And it's called gaslighting. But it's gaslighting at another level because we're talking about like intelligence community style. That means steroids of gaslighting. That's another level, meaning it's just an extreme level of gaslighting where they truly want you to make sense of this. And it's constantly happening and it's done systematically because, like I said, this is not just a bunch of random people. This is contracted trash that are meant to make you accept these things. It's their assignment. Some of them go as far as try to make themselves believe that it's war. It's really not war. It's just them implementing the tactics that they've been um, asked to implement. And I guess because of the level of nonsensicalness they have to go through, they have to really dumb themselves down to even believe that it's war, right? And as I'm speaking about this and putting things in perspective, as always, what's happening right now, these same people who are assigned to dumb themselves down to this level are trying to distract me by saying the things they're going to do to me in regard of my torture. It's called distraction, and the kind of diverging reality, just changing, kind of disorienting you, because as you see things for what they truly are, they want you to maintain this nonsensicalness, these ways of thinking. So they just out of nowhere just say, oh, they're gonna kill you, they're gonna rape you, they're gonna. Now, I'm not saying that's not gonna happen. I'm saying they're saying this at this moment, because as I'm saying how illogical they have to make themselves be, and why they also even use children to try to make these ways of thinking sensical. They're trying to disorient you by telling you this is going to happen to you. They're going to kill you. They're going to think, horrible things that they want you to think about instead of putting things back in perspective. And that's a lot of the things they do to me. It's just try to continuously try to make you acceptive of these things. And it's just a lot of nonsensicalness. And they go through like what many have said as repetitive scripts, phrase that say over and over. Try to use different tonality when they say that. And when they say that, I'm talking about using V2K. V2K is that technology that can make you, you can hear what they say directly to your brain, right? It's a technology that's been around for a while, but they use that to do the scripts. And they say the same thing over and over. Oh, we know this. It was no, they knew that. Like the stuff that's nonsensicalness to try to make you accept, right? And with me, sometimes they even try to use different tonalities. Like children try to make you believe something that's not true, right? So no, they knew. It's like childlike almost. And you hear that a lot of people like they sound like middle schoolers. right? It's like a child trying to convince you that he did the homework, but they didn't do the homework. That's kind of like, that's what they sound like. um, and it's just like, it's nonstop, right? And try to make you accept this false reality, and manipulated. My brain is manipulating nonstop to try to make you subscribe to this. Obviously, at this point, I'm very validated that I know it's not me, and I know that's what they've been doing to others. I've heard too much of the testimonials to understand that this is what they do. I know myself too. Even though 4 years of just pure conditioning and manipulation can make somebody forget themselves, I've made a lot of videos. I've listened to a lot of testimonials that kind of help me in case I'm fading away. Well, actually, I am fading away. I can put things back in perspective, right? And their job is to continuously say things over and over and over to try to make you forget reality, make you forget yourself, and accept this new version of reality they put together. And they try to use different tactics, even some that are supposed to agitate you. This is what I go through. But the way I look at this is like seeing who's involved, right? They are just the bottom feeders. They are the people who are just implementing the tactics. They are not the people really in charge, right? I just find myself thankful that I didn't have to live their life. Because especially in the case with me, as they try to be like, no, it's, they use this V2K technology to make me, try to make me subscribe to this thing. They're like, oh, I couldn't imagine myself speak like, oh, it's you, it's so you. No, we don't do this. It's you, we mapped it. Like, that's how they sound. And like, that's when they try to sound like, I just imagine myself doing this thing and just like, this is embarrassing. This person is not subscribing to it. Whatever we do to his brain, he's not going to go with this. Because not only that, let's just say I get like in this state, I just woke up, they kind of break me down. I'm going to listen to a testimonial saying exactly what they do. That they manipulate people to think about children this ways. Right? And then I'm supposed to be like, no, but you guys are different. Like, it's just self-degrading to people who do these things. The good thing about that is they don't have to be seen, which I understand why. Because what happened is, for example, yesterday, somebody dropped some food and they tried to make me subscribe. And I just listened to like, not even like a testimonial of like a target individual saying that they do the pedophilia type of torture, but listening to the actual reality that the entities who are really running the show are filled with pedophiles, right? So as I was playing that, this guy was just feeling uncomfortable. He didn't even know what to do. He just started walking. I was like, this is what they have to do. But via V2K, you hear these people talking, right? These bottom feeders. They almost sound like children. And these people are trying to make you subscribe to these things. They go through the tactics, scripts, repetition, say things. I've seen some of the people when you see them, and it's funny when they know I'm looking at them, they try to walk with like a little bit of like a little swagger as if like they're so bad. I'm like, you're just a bottom feeder, just who have to repeat things and say things like just a coward whole life that involved in program that torture children and women. Right? You're just nasty, low life, and you see this bottom feeders like, oh. But in this sense, they feel like kind of like special, when in reality they do some of the worst things to children. They torture kids sexually. They suffocate them. All these testimonies are out there. I know that. When they try to counter that, I'm like, you think I'm gonna forget that you do this to kids? Like, you forget that I know that you sexually torture children. And they like to disorient me and try to distance themselves from that. They're like, I did that. It's like, no. The reason why you're walking this swagger like that is because you're in a program that does these things to kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're just bottom feeders. And so for me, I don't let them escape. And so then they tell me I'm going to be raped and tortured. It's like, I'd rather do that. I'd rather get raped and tortured than doing these things to people. You're just the bottom feeders working for entities filled with pedophiles. You torture children, you torture women, you do this manipulation of the mind to just to rewind somebody into some nasty pedophilia ways. And then you have to be like, no, we just mapped it to you when you were a child. We knew. Right? Like, it's just humiliating life. And I see that for that. And that's why when you hear my testimonials now, you hear a lot of the other things to show the patterns that they have these tactics of not only manipulating your memories, but also manipulating your perceptions, manipulating your libido, and all pedophilia-centric. to show the obvious linear correlation of what they do. That they have been manipulating people this way, they have slandered people this way, they have tortured people this ways, they have handicapped people this way. It's like everything. They've tortured mothers and their children. They have been using the same psyop. There's a lot of women involved in this program doing that to women. But the others have said that, but of course it's not a surprise. It makes it sound like women cannot do horrible things to women or to children. Like they and they try to present themselves as like this femme fatale group of people when in reality they're cowards, low life that can even torture children. And so to distract me from saying things like that and seeing them for that, what they do is to tell me how I'm going to be castrated. And I'm like, I rather have my penis cut up, my testicle cut up, than having to do what they do to children and women. And you understand that because of the psyop they wanted to present, they wanted to make themselves be this group of like femme fatale group of, and the humiliation of seeing themselves for actually what they are is going to be worse for me. How can you counter the fact that you're in a program that is actually torturing babies and sexually torturing not infant, but kids, hurting them sexually? You're in a program that has been torturing women in such a horrible ways. You're in a program that has been using tactics that are pedophilia-centric. You've been a program that even your colleagues are childlike individuals, meaning that they like to use people who are not just like the genius of the genius. So to counter that, they're going to try to make me experience the worst thing, to try to counter the reality that they're making even children experience the terrible things that they do to people. So me, I'm like, I will run to that. You will see me scream and cry, but one thing is for sure, I'll never be envious of what they do and what they are. And my suffering is better, even if I die in the street, than having to live in an apartment, having to work with a colleague that's like a childlike individual, try to go through these repetition things to try to counter reality that you're in a program that is out here suffocating even children. While I was saying this, I'm hearing this childlike individual who's like, die alone. Your fists, he'll kill you. And that's how they sound. If you see who's talking to me, Jesus. I mean, somebody who can, like this, you can do this, and they should be crying. So I'm like, okay. They don't use this is not the creme de la creme. I rather get feasted like this trash, it was saying, this childlike trash saying, than having to live this life. They use weak human beings, but because it doesn't take much. This technology is extremely sophisticated that you don't need to be a child can be involved in this. You just gotta be repetitive, which children can easily do that. You're not dying, it's you'll die. All to try to disorient me. And so they've been doing that, and this is nasty. Like, so one of the few things they do every day, like you hear my testimonies, every day there's different nasty things they do to me. To try to look at children in a sexual way and think about kids in this nasty pedophilia ways. They do all. Yesterday I was watching this like reality show, and there was this girls wearing bikinis, and they had like anklets thing on their foot, like, and they start to make me think of this like little baby, like Indian babies, chubby feet with like the little, and then try to make and stimulate me, and try to change what I was seeing with this woman's foot and her bracelet, whatever, and try to make me imagine a child, baby foot, chubby like Indian little baby foot child with a bracelet, whatever, and try to start and give me stimulations. It's like, this is the nasty things these people have to, how they rewire people in this disgusting way to train the brain to think about kids in sexual ways. And truly, even when I'm talking about it, they're forcing me to get sex stimulations. There's a grown man and child, grown men and grown women right now trying to break me down into accepting these nasty things. These people, obviously, these are the tactics they use to break people down, but you gotta also understand there's a lot of pedophilia ongoing in these entities. There's truly a problem with pedophilia. And so you kind of like wonder, is that why there's so much pedophilia in these entities? Do they prefer to, do they like that these pedophiles and these entities, so they can come up with, make it easy for these people to use this pedophilia type of tormenting? To have these ways of thinking where, okay, what we're going to do is, when he sees a woman's foot with, those bracelets on their foot, we're going to make him think of like, like the baby feet. But when the little chubby little baby feet with like a breast. So, and then we're going to start creating sexual, like things of that level of rewiring the brain is just sick. And you hear these bottom fears try to get you to accept these things. And you're like, this is the bottom. And they try to make themselves sound fierce. And to encounter things by, oh, you're going to bottom. This is the life of these bottom feeders who will die. Some of them don't even believe death is going to come to them. But I make these videos because I know that they want me to be identifying and being even anxious about it. No, if anything, I'm going to see these bottom feeders for what they are. You try to make me think of this little baby's feet and then just to counter and then stimulate me. Do you think I'm going to be like, oh, it's so me? When I know what this technology is capable of doing with stimulations and manipulation of the thoughts, and try to train people to think in these pedophilia ways? They're disgusting. And then I was on some, like, there was a trailer of like a docuserie, and there was like a family man, this boxers, and he has his whole family, and he's like one of his older kids, like a teenage kid. They tried to make me think that's his wife. I was like, no, it's like that's his daughter. And they tried to, and when I was trying to say that's his daughter, they tried to make me think, no, that's his wife. Oh, you see, oh, caught you. I was like, no, you just tried to make me look at her like an adult. These people are disgusting, and they try to play with my brain. This is the things they do. Doing everything possible to, from the babies, like I said, the baby food, to the older kids, to anything, they try to turn things into pedophilia. And then I'm listening to this video, and this person talks about this woman's like, oh, you're spicy, I like that, something like that, being funny. They try to make me think of a memory they've manipulated, where they have added stimulations. When I was in middle school, I had my older cousin braiding my hair, and there was the daughter of my cousin, this little girl, that, because I was like in pain, that was the first time I was getting braided. I was like, never, and I was in pain. She would hit me on my foot, on my knee, because usually she's the one being braided, and she was like, I see it hurts, huh? And she was hitting me, and I'm like, and they give me stimulations. And it's like, no, we matched it, that's how you felt. It's like, no, I didn't feel like that. And then they're like, oh, but remember what you did as a child. I was like, I did something stupid as a kid to myself. That was like that. It was an impulsive moment. But because they're trying to make me accept what I'm experiencing today is just something they mapped it to me when I was a child in 8th grade. They'd be like, no, you see, that's why we knew. It's like, no, you're forcing me to experience that in my memories. What I did as a child is something a kid in 8th grade can do impulsively and stupidly. And not a kid, but I understand you guys who do the pedophilia type of torture want me to subscribe to these things. But this is the routine things that you guys do. These people not only manipulate people in these pedophilia ways, manipulate memories in these ways, but they also actually torture children. To add to all the things, they to actually hurt kids. They suffocate babies, 4 or 5-year-olds, hurt sexually, torture them, suffocating 7-year-old kids, hurting 3-year-old kids' testicles. This is the program they're in. And I'm listening to this bottom feeder next door, just going through her scripts. It might be, it's you. It's like, no. Reality is that what you guys do to babies and kids is real. You have to manipulate a grown man memory and then try to be like, oh, it's him it's you when you're a child. I'd rather get tortured in every ways than be involved in a program that can actually torture babies like that. And using these CIA tactics of disorienting somebody, which CIA entities have having problem pedophilia. There's a bunch of pedophiles out here doing things to 2-year-old, 3-year-old in their entities, which they've been exposed for. Well, not exposed. Exposed is a big word because the names and all that are redacted. There's been somewhat of a not even a whistleblower. There's a little bit of a exposure, just a little bit. Only that means that it's a lot more than what they're showing. And so these entities filled with pedophiles come up with these tactics to break people down. These bottom feeders implement these tactics. These bottom feeders are in a program that torture children, that are here torturing little babies, even sexually, and try to make me think that I'm going to subscribe to these pedophilia things because you manipulate my memories this way, because you think that I'm going to be like, oh, it's me when I was a child. Never. And when they talk about what I did as a kid, I'm like, do you know that I know that you guys are here suffocating children? And I know that they have these neighbors, right? They like to send the neighbors. Some of the childlike neighbors are sent when I bring up the fact they torture children. Because I think in their mind, they think, oh, this is a kid. No, that child is involved in a program that tortures children. Other target individuals have literally said, oh, I think the next door 14-year-old Xbox player is doing this to me, because they have this habit of using children in this program to also go through the scripts. This child will be doing this thing to a woman, will be doing this to a child. Nothing, no problem. So, to all my target individual, for me, my testimonials is because I know there'll be a day when I will not be able to speak. I say all the things I need to say today, because one day I will not be able to. I've humiliated these people so much because they wanted me to see them in different ways. So they're going to torture me in a humiliating way to counter the humiliation that actually life has brought to them. And so I speak now when I can. When I cannot speak anymore, when I'm dying, even though they say that I'm dying now, when I'm like in the point, I'm dying to the point where I cannot speak, or I'm in pain, or I remember that at least as all I needed to say was said. I put it out. And I do believe in God more than ever. Because all I've been asking when I pray is show me, not even show me, show themselves for what they are. And these different testimonials came out, more testimonials are coming out, more things are showing, like these patterns are more and more obvious. And then on top of that, you find out that this BuzzFeed article comes out saying there's been a pattern of child abuse in these entities, and then pedophiles that are in child porn on the government devices. Men doing things to 2-year-old and 6-year-old. A CIA agent raping children. It's disgusting. And me, they're like, oh no, but remember what you did as a kid. Remember, it's embarrassing. Not only that, then finding out that they torture children. Sexually torture them. To all my target individuals, stay strong. Know that justice will be done.